Hello, good evening, everybody. Once again, I'm Nicola Scatassi from Italy. I've been guiding tours, I think the same as Luca. I started with Naturetrek in 2015, but I had led previous tours also in previous years. My proper work, let's say, I work full-time here in northwestern Italy as a ranger in a natural park along the Po River, but I enjoy very much guiding, leading tours, mainly in Italy, but also somewhere else in Europe. Well, Macedonia, this tour is about, of course, butterflies, but not only butterflies. And this is to give you an idea of where Macedonia is. The Republic of North Macedonia is a landlocked country. It's just smaller than Belgium. So no long drives during these tours, no worries about that. It borders with Albania, Greece, Bulgaria, and Kosovo and Serbia. And as you can see here on the right, the circled areas in white are where we mostly stay during the tours. In this area, in the southwestern corner of the country, in two national parks, Galicica and Pelister, and also in another area more to the eastern parts of the country along the Vardar River Valley, and also other few places around. But again, it's not a very big country, so no long distances. This is just to give you an idea of what we see during the tour. So butterflies, of course, but not only, as it's the standard in all Naturetrek tours, of course. And this, again, I'm going to show you a sequence of photos to show examples of the various habitats that we explore during the tour. So Macedonia is a hilly, mountainous country. So basically, on the first leg of the tour, we visit the higher mountains of Macedonia in the two national parks, Galicica and Pelister. So the habitats are, of course, mountains, mainly wooded. They don't reach a very high altitude, less than 3,000 meters. So not like the Alps, let's say, which Luca just showed you. So wooded forest, a lot of open areas with rocky outcrops, some fantastic rivers full of biodiversity. And here we can see our local guide, Dime, showing people the beautiful Macedonian pine forests that we see during one day. Very good habitats for a lot of species. And here on the right, the lower part, on the right, more in lower parts of the country, open countries, very exciting for biodiversity in general again. As you can see, the tour is made in June, so a lot of flowers all around. As I said, the rocky outcrops also impressive. And here you can see we pay visit to a monastery, Treskavets, sorry, difficult names. Treskavets Monastery, which is very fascinating, which is actually inhabited by just one lone monk who's been living there for decades on his own, and some very nice frescoes in this monastery, so very interesting. And this last photo here on the right is not to show you the truck, but to show you the cliff, which has nests of black stork and Egyptian vulture, so very interesting. Here again, let's go clockwise. We have, I think, 2 or 3 days during which we have our lovely lunch in open dining halls, open restaurants with where you have swallows nests over your head, and you have a very nice stream very close by where you see dice, snake, and other wildlife. So very nice atmosphere. The village here is Ohrid, small historic town, very important locally, on the shores of the Lake Ohrid, not far from the Albanian border. And we have a nice stroll there one afternoon. Then here we have, just to show you, we normally have, of course, let's say the famous Naturetrek picnic lunches, but also some very nice restaurant lunches as I just show you. But on one particular day, very high in the mountains, in a mountain hut by a lake, we have this very typical meal, which is provided by a ranger of the park that guides us on that day, and with all sort of homegrown vegetables, homemade pies, and it's a very appreciated lunch that we have. And during that day, we reached that lake and that mountain hut with those three 4x4 vehicles that you can see. Of course, the normal minivans, 9-seater, are used for the tours. And this is just a picture of this tour is based in 2 hotels. This one here on the left is in the mountains, and this one here on the right, very beautiful, is more in the lower parts of the country. Now I'm going to show you a sequence of photos of the different butterflies that we see during that tour. I made this tour in 2019, and we saw 103 species of butterflies, which is pretty much the standard of the tour, this tour. And it's just over the half of the species that you can find in North Macedonia, so not bad at all. Of course, being situated in that part of Europe, many species are particularly attractive because of their distribution, of course, also. So a lot of the species that I'm going to show you have, of course, a limited distribution, limited to Southeastern Europe. So the blues, I started with the blues. Of course, we did see a lot of blue species. By contrast, Luca was speaking about a lot of ringlets that they see in the Dolomites. Here, I think we saw only 2 species of ringlets, but a lot of blues, like the zephyr blue, turquoise blue, Amanda blue, Mazarin, and Adonis. So it's very good also because sometimes in some, for example, I remember near a spring in the mountains, you get to see a lot of different species very close to each other. So it's very good also for comparison, to spend a few hours there trying to distinct all the different species. It's always nice. Of course, photo opportunities are great. For example, the zephyr blue here has a scattered European population distribution, but it's much commoner in the southeastern parts of Europe. Well, again, a few interesting blue species like the eastern button blue, very nice. Or the Lang's short-tailed blue, very peculiar, very attractive species. And again, the Provençal short-tailed blue, again, all species with southern distribution, so very interesting for butterfly watchers coming from Northern European countries. Here I have the brown argus and the Steveni form of the Meleager's blue. So again, very interesting forms and species. Well, of course, here the little tiger blue, I guess, is probably one of the most cracking species that we see during this tour. Very nice. The diamond blue, again, is in the higher parts of the Macedonian Republic that we see this species. Blue spot hair streak, again, is a species very nice, and we did see on 2 days, I think, during the tour. Again, the blue argus, a nice and interesting species with a southern Eastern and European distribution. On to the coppers, again, we did see quite a number of species of coppers, with some, again, with, of course, limited distribution. For example, the Balkan copper, very nice species, like all coppers, of course, with its bright colors, and usually quite easy also to see in photographs. That if you're lucky, you can get good views and good photos opportunities. The purple shot copper, Lacifire copper, very nice species. To other families now. Well, again, of course, clockwise again, the eastern greenish black tip is again, wow, a species with a limited distribution. So I guess very interesting again for butterfly watchers all over Europe. Well, a more common species, the black veined white, but beautiful photo. I have to say, I forgot that most of the photos are not made by me, but by the other guy who was with me, who I will thank on the last slide. Again, Croupers, small white, very interesting because of its distribution. And some, as you can see, sometimes we do take, of course, some we do capture some of the species, some of the individuals, for a very limited, for a very short time, of course, just to be sure of the identification. Then, of course, we release them again in the wild. The eastern festoon, for example, we didn't see them it on the tour that I co-led. Of course, like all festoon is quite an early species, but sometimes these photos was taken in June in another tour, so it's a possibility. Of course, a gorgeous species. Some other, well, commoner species like swallowtail or large tortoiseshell. Well, common depends, of course, where you are. Clouded Apollo, again, very interesting species of Southern European mountains. Well, fritillary, wow, a very nice group, and we did see a lot of them. The Mar fritillary that you might be familiar with, but of course, again, now some other species that have a limited distribution again, so very much sought after, I would say, and they're all very beautiful, hard to make a chart of them. And marble fritillary, knapweed fritillary, spotted, they're all fritillaries, of course, are cracking species and lovely to see and spend time with them. Freyer's fritillary, again, twin spot, very sought after species. Cardinal, again, a very beautiful and large species that we did see on, I think, on various days during the tour. Well, now some specialities here, real specialities. The Eastern rock grayling, all this, well, the graylings are of butterflies of open areas, of course, with rocky outcrops, etc. So the Eastern rock grayling, and of course the Macedonian grayling, is probably the star species, I could say, of the tour, because it's really endemic of this country. And we go to a place where it's guaranteed. On the tour that I led, we went there on the first day, but the weather was horrible, so we came back there on another day, and we did see them. Very, very nice species, nice and particular, of course. And also the Balkan marble white, subtle differences, well, not so subtle with the commoner marbled white, very nice species, as well as the white banded grayling. And, well, some other very peculiar but very nice species: the lattice brown, the hermit, and the nettle tree butterfly. Again, species which are not easy to see, generally speaking, in Europe. So very attractive species, and a reason to come to this tour if you're a butterfly watcher, I guess. Some more species. Well, skippers. Well, I have put this heath, which is beautiful, and also the photo by Martin, it's beautiful. The Russian heath, very, very nice. And a few skippers. Of course, we did see more skippers, but I put only 3 photos here. But again, interesting species because of their distribution: the Hungarian yellow banded, the southern European species, and the sandy grizzled skipper. Well, depends on your taste, but very attractive species again. Now on to other groups, quite briefly. The odalisque, we did see this dragonfly, which in a place where it was not supposed to be. So we were very happy to find it, and really cracking and fantastic species. We were all very happy to have found this species. As you can guess by the name, Turkish clubtail is again a species with a southeastern distribution. The blade tail, I was amazed by the number of blade tails that we did see on the last day of the tour in the Mladost Lake. There were literally dozens of them all around, even in the restaurant open dining hall where we had our lovely lunch. They were all over, amazing. The Balkan golden ring again, and the blue-eyed golden ring, even rarer than the Balkan. So very, very nice also for dragonflies. A few other interesting insects. The bronze glandular bush cricket is a massive cricket that we had by our hotel, by our second hotel. And it's really this size, I mean, 4 or 5 centimeters, very big. And two beautiful owl flies, the milky and another macaroni, very beautiful species. Of course, some more other interesting species. As you know, Southern Europe is blessed with a lot of interesting and beautiful insect species. So an ant lion, the Balkan lacewing is just amazing. And this huge and aggressive Ramus predatory bush cricket, very impressive, I should say. A few reptiles. There are two species of tortoises, which are not so easy to distinguish between them, but as you can see them pretty close, it's easier. The Kochis gecko is an interesting species because basically in the Vardar Valley in central Macedonia is the only species of gecko, which has again a limited distribution, and you can see its legs, its toes, sorry, which are so like lizard-like. The eastern green lizard is another species that we did see almost every day. Yellow-bellied toad, very nice. Horned viper, I missed it on my tour, but it's always a chance. Die snake were quite common. Eurasian worm snake again, great species. Just a few birds. We go in June, so bit late for the birds in that part of Europe, but very nice species which can be seen. Black-headed bunting, very common near the hotel. Masked shrike, not so common, but almost guaranteed. The Eastern Imperial eagle, we had fantastic views. It's guaranteed, so it's very impressive bird again. Egyptian vulture, I show you the cliff where his nest was, so again, pretty much guaranteed. A lot of colorful species again, and the Dalmatian pelican in the Prespa and Ohrid lake that we visit. And just a few plants to finish. The Madonna lily, which is a very attractive species again, and a few more mountain species, Daphne, Moss campion, a few orchids, let's say the three-toothed, and the Balkan version of the lizard orchid, V orchid. This peculiar whole flower, and the Crocus pelistericus, which is an endemic species of the Pallister National Park of that part of the country. So again, very interesting. So that's it. Hope to see you there. And thanks, Martin, the guide who was with me and who provided most of the photos with a Macedonian graining on his chest. Okay, thank you for listening.